First of all, let's have a look at the background of the project. Social media platforms have become an integral part of our daily life. However, many users are unaware that their activity on this platform give company access to important information that they may sell or use without consent. One of the most significant incidents involving data privacy and social media was the Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal. Cambridge Analytica, a political consulting business hired by the Donald Trump presidential campaign in 2016, improperly collected and used personal data from millions of Facebook users without their consent. The Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal highlighted the need for greater accountability and responsibility in the collection and use of personal data. As we continue to navigate the digital landscape, it is essential that we remain vigilant about our online activity and the potential risks involved.
The Facebook Cambridge Analytica data scandal came to light in March 2018. In this scandal, the data of up to 87 million Facebook users were obtained without their consent and used by Cambridge Analytica, a political consulting firm that was working on the Donald Trump presidential campaign and the Brexit campaign in the UK. The data collection process involved the use of a third-party app called This Is Your Digital Life, which was developed by Alexander Kogan, a researcher at Cambridge University. The app was installed by around 270,000 Facebook users who gave their permission to access their data as well as the data of their Facebook friends. Once the app had been granted permission to access Facebook data, it began collecting data on users' likes, interests, and other personal information. Kogan then shared the data he collected with Cambridge Analytica, allegedly creating psychographic profiles of voters which could be used to target political ads and messages more effectively. This scandal exposed Facebook's cavalier attitude towards user data and ignited a series of investigations in the US and the UK that forced Facebook to admit that Cambridge Analytica had obtained data on up to 87 million Facebook users without their consent. The scandal also led to a backlash against Facebook, with some users opting to delete their accounts in protest. While it is unclear how many people deleted their accounts because of the scandal, it did highlight growing concerns about privacy and data protection on social media. The Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal led to a range of regulatory and legal challenges for both companies. Facebook faced investigations and fines from regulators in the US and Europe and was forced to implement a range of changes to its data policies and user privacy settings. Cambridge Analytica declared bankruptcy and was dissolved, and its executive faced scrutiny and legal action. CEO of Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, was called to testify before Congress. The scandal had far-reaching implications for the technology industry, social media, and politics. It highlighted the need for greater transparency and accountability in the collection and use of personal data, and raised questions about the role of social media in democratic processes. The Facebook Cambridge Analytica data scandal raised several technical and ethical issues, which had led to increased scrutiny of tech companies and their use of personal data, and sparked calls for greater ethics and regulation of the industry.
After understanding the background of this issue, now let us discuss the technical reasons behind this issue in detail. First and foremost, Facebook is responsible of this failure as they lack of sufficient controls on how application developers could access and use data from the Facebook platform. Facebook's application programming interface, or known as API, allow the third-party app developers to access user data not only from users who have installed the app, but also from their friends. Due to this reason, Cambridge Analytica took this opportunity by creating a quiz app which is known as This Is Your Digital Life to obtain data on millions of users. Next, the way of setting out Facebook data sharing permission is also one of the technical reasons. In most of the cases, users granted permission to third-party apps to access their data without fully understanding what data the app was accessing or how it would be used. For example, in this figure, an app will request access to a user's Facebook profile including their name, personal email address, as well as birthday. However, it is believed that most of the users will directly click the continue button without fully understanding which data have been granted by the app developer. This lack of transparency around data collection practices mean that users often had little control over how their data was being used. In addition, data mining and profiling. In the case of Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal, Cambridge Analytica used data mining and profiling techniques to collect user data and create profiles, which it then used to target political acts during the 2016 US presidential election. This has raised serious concerns around the ethics of data mining and profiling, particularly when it comes to political advertising. Besides, the lack of data privacy regulations in the United States was also one of the key factors which led to the scandal. At the time of the scandal, there were only few regulations in place to protect the user data privacy, and companies like Facebook or Google were largely left to self-regulate their data collection and usage practices. Unlike in Europe, where the General Data Protection Regulation, or commonly known as GDPR, had already been enacted, the United States did not have any comprehensive privacy regulations in place to govern how companies could collect, store, and use their user data. This lack of regulations means that companies like Facebook had more freedom to collect and use user data as they saw fit, without being held accountable for any potential abusers. In short, Cambridge Analytica and Facebook are both equally to be blamed, as Facebook's lack of awareness and oversight of how their user data was being used by the third-party companies is very irresponsible of them, and breaching of the data policy by Kogan as well as Cambridge Analytica is unprofessional.
Ethical behavior is generally considered to be behavior that is moral, honest, and fair. It involves treating others with respect, acting with integrity, and being accountable for one's action. In this case study, Facebook has repeatedly shown the lack of integrity, where the company has accumulated a great deal of data but not informed their users of potential data breaches that might occur and responsibly enforce their third-party rules. Furthermore, Facebook neglected to alert the users to the issue, despite being of it 3 years in advance. Besides that, Facebook also displayed a lack of responsibility in this case, where they claim that they did nothing wrong because users had consented to the sharing of their data. As a result, it appeared as though the users were to blame, but they were not aware of the importance of maintaining the privacy settings. Last but not least, Cambridge Analytica used that data it obtained to manipulate users by creating detailed psychological profiles of individual Facebook users and influence the 2016 US presidential election. These profiles were then used to target users with highly personalized political ads that were designed to influence behavior and voting decisions. Overall, the Facebook Cambridge Analytica data scandal was a clear violation of ethical principles such as privacy, informed consent, manipulation, and responsibility. Facebook broke rules that were outlined in both their code of conduct and data policy throughout the scandal.
Next is the recommendations to prevent similar failure in the future. First is strengthen privacy regulations. Regulations should expand the definitions of personal data to include a broader range of data types, including online identifiers such as IP addresses and device IDs. This will ensure that the more data is protected under privacy laws. Regulations should also require companies to notify users promptly in the event of a data breach that affects their personal data. This will help users to take steps to protect their data and prevent further harm. Next is to increase transparency. Companies should provide users with clear and concise privacy policies that are easy to understand. And data collections and sharing practices should be made visible to users. This can be done by providing users with a dashboard or other interface that allows them to see what data is being collected and shared. Regular transparency reports should be also implemented. So by increasing transparency, companies can build trust with their users and prevent future data scandals. The third recommendation is to improve oversight. Independent oversight bodies should be established which are responsible for monitoring companies' data collections and sharing practices. These bodies should have the authority to investigate potential violations of privacy regulations and to enforce penalties for non-compliance. Next is to enforce penalties. Penalties for non-compliance with data protection laws should be increased to ensure that the companies take their data protection responsibilities seriously. This may include imposing fines, revoking license, or imposing criminal sanctions. Besides, penalties should be made public. This is to increase transparency and deterrence. Furthermore is to educate users. Users need to be made aware of the potential privacy risks associated with using social media platforms like Facebook. This can be done through public awareness campaign, educational materials, and social media posts. Social media platforms should provide clear and concise privacy policies that are easy for users to understand. Last is to implement stronger data security. Access to data should be limited to only those who need it to perform their job responsibilities. This can help protect sensitive information from unauthorized access. Regular security audits should be also conducted to identify the vulnerabilities and ensure that the data security measures are effective.
In conclusion, the Facebook Cambridge Analytica scandal exposed the danger of personal data exploitation and electoral meddling. To prevent similar incidents, we must take steps to strengthen privacy regulation, increase transparency and oversight, enforce penalties, educate users, and implement stronger data security measures. This scandal involved not only technical issues within the company, but also ethical issues. By taking these recommendations seriously, we can ensure responsibility and ethical use of personal data and prevent similar incidents from happening again. Thank you.